I am looking at the Inno Setup compiler. This is a program for making an installer file that will make it simpler to install a game or another program that you might have made on a computer using Windows. It is a simple and convenient way to provide a game or other program to other people. The Inno Setup compiler uses a script for compiling the installer. The script will control how the installer will work, what files will be installed and in what folders, what ways will the user be offered to start, to launch the installed program. The script will decide what the installer will do. The setup program have a wizard that can help to generate a script. In an earlier video I have used the wizard to make a script. There will be a link to that video in the description below. In this video I will show how you can make changes in the script generated by the wizard. If you have not seen the first video, you might like to see that one first. Of course, it is also possible to make a script from scratch, or from an earlier script for a different program. So, let's see what parts we have in this script. First, we have some constants being defined. These are used later in the script to simplify the script. We have some general commands for setting up the installer. The first thing we have is an identification number that is generated by the setup compiler. Each installer is supposed to have a unique number. You can generate a new number under Tools in the toolbar. Default dir name decides in what folder the game or program will be installed. PF means that the top folder will be the program files folder on the user's computer. I will change that to SD, system drive, which typically is the C drive on the computer. This choice is a personal preference for me. The program files folder is generally a good place to have as top folder for your game. Disable program group page. I don't think I need that. I put a semicolon at the start of that line, and that will stop the line from running. I will want to set a default group name, so I will add that. That will show up in the start menu as a group name. I will want to have a start button and an uninstall button in the start menu. That will be the group. For the uninstall button I will need an icon. Uninstall display icon will define that icon. I also want an image in the installer setup guide. Wizard image file will define that. This image should have the size 164 by 314. It must be a BMP and the bit depth should be 24 or less. Next section is languages. That is the language or languages used in the installer to guide the user through the installation process. English is the default and generally the only one I use. For this installer I have also chosen Japanese and Norwegian in the wizard to see how that turns out. I will not make any changes in this section. The next section covers the task of creating a desktop icon. I will not make any changes in this section. Next section is about what files are going to be installed and where. This section is the one that could be most work writing yourself without the help of the wizard. Not because it is difficult, but because it is a lot of repetitive work. Definitely recommend to use the wizard to do this part, which is what I have done. and I don't need to have any changes in this section. The next section covers buttons in the Start menu. What I got from the wizard is a launch button in the Start menu and a desktop icon for shortcuts to launch the game from the desktop. I want to have a group in the Start menu, so I change the launch button in the Start menu to be part of a menu group. In the Setup section, I did name the group Game of Ur. I add an icon to the launch button, then I add an uninstall button to the group. I have an icon for that button. I finally also add an icon to the desktop shortcut. The last section deals with running the launching of the game. I don't need to change anything in this section. So now I have made all the changes I want to do. The only thing left to do is to compile the installer program. We can do that with this button. The process of the compiling is shown in this window. If anything goes wrong in the process, that will be shown here. In this case, the compiling was successful, and the only thing left to do is to run the installer and see if it works as intended. Okay, we got the installer file in the folder it was supposed to be in. We got English, we got Norwegian, we have not got Japanese. And here we have the license, we will accept that. And we accept all the choices that we are presented with, and adds a icon to the desktop. Yeah, that looks good. And we are installing, we have installed, and let's see if the game is running, and it is. We have successfully made an installer and installed the game. Okay, that went rather well. Everything ended up where it was supposed to go. I have all the shortcuts I wanted, launch the game or to uninstall it. The only thing that did not work out was the Japanese text for the installer. I suspect that depended on some language setting that I have on my computer, or perhaps that I do not have on my computer. That was a short demonstration on some of what you can do with Inno Setup. I will leave some links in the description below where you can get some more information, and that will be all for now. Bye!